Welcome back to Switch to Linux, and today we want to look at Gnome 48. This is the beta that is released. This version of Gnome is set to be released in the middle of March, I think 19th or something. But we are going to go ahead and have a look at it. And I pulled in here a couple of different articles to have a look at it. And I really wanted to talk about just kind of the changes that we see. It's basically the same Gnome you are used to. Most of the main core system is mostly intact and essentially the same. We do have a new music player, of course, in here. You'll see that music is still here. That wasn't loading for me earlier. Let's see if it makes a liar out of me. I was not actually able to get this guy loaded up. But the new one, which is Decibel, and they call it audio player here, this one actually does load. And this is probably the least capable audio player I've ever seen. It's one of those funny things. Gnome packages a lot of these core systems that just seems to get worse and worse and simpler and simpler. Kind of like that old argument that I have that simplicity does not necessarily mean the better system, you know. We'll go ahead and get to the audio player in a little bit. I want to kind of walk through and just look at their issues here. And I'll say that the best write-up I've seen everywhere is the register. Not sure why, but I looked at a lot of the different release posts, even their own release posts. The register actually had the most detailed write-up of this. So if you're interested in going through in detail about what's going to be in Gnome 48 beta, then go ahead and have a look at theirs. So I'll leave the register link in the description there. This is actually from their collection. This may not even be totally completely written yet. This is from the various developers to come in and drop things. The only major change, the core app of the audio player. So I guess we will get to that now. Load up audio player, and it has effectively no settings, no options. You can't even throw multiple files in this and just have it play those couple files like I have on my default Cinnamon on Endeavor OS. I just used a very simple audio player. Last night I just wanted to listen to like 3 specific songs from an album, copied the 3 songs, threw them over there, and it just played those 3 songs. You can't even do that here. But you hit the open box, and let's go to our music. And what I grabbed here is I grabbed the I just grabbed the audiobook. You see you can't select. I'm going to hold my control here. I can't select multiple things. I can only select a single item. And this is it. So the player here is playing. There you go. Switch that over so I can actually hear it myself. So it actually is playing. You see you get this very general line. There is a forwards 10 seconds, back 10 seconds. We can mute just the audio. It'll give us the duration and the how long the track is, and then we can speed it up to 3 times the speed or down to half the speed. And that is all the options that we have. I'm trying to get it back down to 1. It's not even easy to get it back to 1. There it is. Okay, so that's all we have. So it is an extraordinarily simple, very low feature, can't even support playlists. I'm going to join in with the people saying, yeah, this is really not a good plan to add this one in. Especially my understanding of the coding is it's based on JavaScript. Was it the JS node, I think? I'm not a programmer. Apologies. They do have some changes in Loupe is the picture viewer. So if you go and view pictures, where's it at? It's in here somewhere. I saw it earlier. There you go. Image viewer. There it is. So this is the new system. It's once again like the other Gnome apps, very few options. You can open the files here, and I threw a couple pictures over here to look at. And here you go. Here's my favorite Audacity image. It's giving us a warning. Audacity warning, don't show this warning again. I have no idea. That is a real photo I snapped. Thank you, Audacity. Not sure what's going on. You can use the arrow keys to scroll to the other things inside the folder. So I'm not sure what that image is or that image is. So there's 2 images there it couldn't load. I'm not sure why that is. Okay, now it can't seem to load anything anymore. Okay, there you go. So I have no idea. It's not performing particularly well on this one here. The new options, as they say over here, the biggest changes are in the zooming options, which is down here in the bottom. So you can set your zooms easily, but you can also just come in and manually enter a zoom amount that you wanted to enter. Well, I did when I did my testing. There it is. Okay. So you can see that they have that, and they can do under your editing up at the top. There's a few other editing options, rotates, flips, change aspect ratios, and things like that. Not a lot of major changes in that one. Once again, this is why a lot of these distros, by the way, even if they're using GNOME, they'll replace these basic core apps with other things. The calendar has a new option when you are selecting, like creating a new event, and you want to add a new event to it. We now have the option under our timed events. You can actually come over here and select the time zone as well. Useful, like right now, I'm in Arizona, and if I'm doing all my business on the East Coast, I can go ahead and put in whatever time zone it happens to be for wherever we're at. I don't know if Phoenix is actually going to show up or not. There you go. Of course, I just got to spell it right, so there you go. So you can enter your specific time zones into your calendar events as well. So that's a new feature that they have inside of the calendar. As far as other options, there's a lot of kind of minor things. The text editor is changed ever so slightly. Let me pull it up here. So I just went ahead and threw up a item over here. We have this I, which I thought was like, help or information. It's actually the document properties. Down here, you can set what the document type is, and you can do the character, you can do, your lines, your statistics, things like that. From your hamburger menu, you can set the various color scheming options, and then you can go into your preferences for things like this that you're working on. So there's some of these are the same, of course. They just did some readjusting and moved the document properties over there. I believe that was somewhere different in the past. Go ahead and discard that guy there. We have a slight change in the fonts. There is some battery health stuff. This is actually the first time I got a chance to use on this system where I could actually toggle the power modes and things like that directly from the GNOME power bar. That could just be because I updated the whole streaming computer we're running on the latest software as of a couple days ago. The biggest change inside of this is inside the settings panel, and that is the implementation of your digital well-being. And so inside of this, we now have statistics that's going to tell you at the top here your average time. So 38 minutes, that was the prep time before recording the video today. You can see I was also on it a little bit, playing around there on Tuesday. On average this week, I spent 1 hour on this screen. It makes it look like I never sit in front of a computer. If only you knew how many computers I had. All right. And then, of course, down here, you can set your screen time limits. You can set what your daily limit is. So, we're coming up. We're coming up, folks. We're coming up. No! Our screen time limit is reached. It'll turn the screen like black and white once you do that. So, gets rid of all of your color, makes your screen time boring. Of course, if you like to watch old black and white movies. And then here it will grayscale it when your time's up, and it'll give you constant notifications if you run over it. We can turn on eyesight reminders and movement reminders. Remind yourself every how often to stand up and walk around and do a little bit. It'll play sounds when it break ends. So this is the digital well-being. This is, I believe, the first time they've implemented that inside of the system. They did make mention of some of the other system things in the system app have been adjusted. I haven't seen anything on the outward end. But those are there. Of course, if you're using a touchpad, and I'm not right now, they have some extra new features for touchpad, drag and drop, and things like that. So that's good. As I said, the register article was the best that I've seen on this one, so we'll have a brief look at that. Mostly just because they covered they've been collecting different things from different places. Now, this one is going to be the one is kind of transitional, moving into a pure Wayland on GNOME. And so this one starts deprecating some of the X11 connections. This is using GTK4 is starting to be implemented in here. Of course, they're working on dropping X Wayland for GDM in version 49, which is a little bit out. But I believe that this is kind of that transitional one that's really moving towards that. In fact, let me go ahead and check the settings up here again. I just want to see if it's see if it tells us what we're on here. I assume we are on Wayland, but let's see. Yep, you can see over here Wayland. We're on KVM virtualization. We're virtualizing in Gnome boxes today. This would not run on virtual machine, so I did run it over here on Gnome boxes instead. So that's a little bit about my development system, and we're on Linux Mint 22.1, excuse me, the very latest Linux Mint we just upgraded to on my streaming system here. All right, so we have there's a GNOME display control. We can do some ADP dbus API to handle dynamic range displays. They have implemented the web links into Flatpaks. So when you go onto FlatHub, for example, and you hit install, now you can click on the button down here, and you can get the code to install this in the terminal. But on some distros, if you hit install, it will automatically install, automatically boot it up. Now, what I found on this particular web browser is when I hit the download this, it didn't automatically boot up your software manager. But if you just go ahead and click the button there, you'll see it will launch up the GNOME software, and it'll queue up the page, and you can go ahead and hit the install button from there. So that is how that works out nicely. So they're kind of working on getting the web links for the Flatpaks to open right up inside of the GNOME software store. So that's actually a pretty good thing. We talked about Decibels. GNOME Papers, this is a new document reader that they're implementing. So inside of Papers, this is, now they say down here, this is a simple file document viewer which can display various document types and image formats, including ebooks and electronic comments. I did not find that to be the case. So let's go ahead and open a document. It does say images. I didn't test images. So let's go ahead and have a look at my photos again. So you can see under photos, there's nothing. Hit all files. I didn't see anything there. Am I in the right folder? Oh, never mind. I was in the wrong folder. Apparently, I went to a wrong folder there. Let's go and open the cat. Unable to open the document. So something else, though. It does say, though, ebooks. I tested that out, and it doesn't do that either. So here is an ebook. And you can see, unable to open it. Let's go with another file. Here's a PDF. It does open the PDFs, and it opens the PDFs very well. And so you can see over here, here's the table of contents, here's your preamble, and then each of the short stories. This is, of course, the Code Red book. So you can go ahead and see that works out just well on there. So if you want to pick up Code Red, pick that up anywhere you can find a book online, print book, audiobook, and ebook. If you are on Patreon, patreon.com/TOMM, $5 a month or up, you can download that for free on ebook or audiobook platform. All right, let's close those out there. So just saying the GNOME Papers, it doesn't read as much, at least on my beta build right now. It doesn't read ebooks. I didn't test any electronic comics. I didn't even know electronic comic formats were something until a couple days ago. That's kind of cool, but hey, I'm not a comic book guy, so whatever. All right, so we'd mentioned the text editor there, and they do have some commentary about the Epiphany browser and better integration with Elementary. The guys at the Register speculated that was Elementary OS, not sure about that. And then, of course, we have some commentary there. Basically, the files, or formerly Nautilus, should work a little bit faster. Hopefully that is the case. That is one of the downsides I've ever had at using GNOME, is that the way that the file manager is horrible. I hate the file manager. So as far as the use of this guy here, this will be the default for Fedora 32, which is somehow some Y themed to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, cool. And it will be in Ubuntu's 25.04 release, but will not be in the next LTS, which will be a future version of GNOME down the road. So there is our brief look at it. Overall, I just felt the experience was much the same. Didn't see a lot of behavioral differences in the way the whole system worked. So it was pretty nice to see the current development of it. I do have questions about some of their app choices. Their audio player is not really good and representative. It just doesn't feel like a good system. The music app was not loading for me at all, and Papers does not load nearly as many types of document types as the articles would suggest it would. Those are some of the issues that I encountered, and that's kind of like how few options and settings and capable some of these core applications are. I think actually cheapens the desktop environment. It just doesn't feel like it's as full or as committed to actually working for your average users, because it doesn't even have a functional audio player, for example. But I don't know. That's my thought. Let me know your thoughts about this. Are you using Gnome? Are you excited for this release? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below.